that is not, Maurice is not hosting this morning. It's our Dro, another co-worker in city planning. So the meeting might go a little slower than normal. So we ask that everyone please be patient. So I see we have Gary Fishman. What is it? Fishman here from docket
Yes.
880. Is your
I'm here. I can't see anybody, but I'm here.
Okay.
So, Mr. Fishman, what's important is that you can see the screen.
I can
So-
see this.
So the video,
but I can
yeah,
see
the
it.
video boxes is the setting on your side that without actually seeing your screen is difficult.
I understand.
When your case is called, as long as you can see the screen, that's what's most important.
Hi,
Okay.
Gary. It's Patty Aston. How are you?
Hello, Patty Aston.
There's something with your settings because we can all see you. There's a setting that you're not having properly done up, just so you know. We can see you in the top boxes. There's something with the way you have the layout.
Well, I can try to press buttons, but I don't want to lose you.
Yeah, that's up to you, but you can always rejoin. But that, just so you know, we can see you. I don't have my video on. I keep my video and audio off because I'm not necessary.
Okay. Well, I will stop rubbing my nose then.
Okay. I see Christine is here from docket 866.
Okay, I'm not getting.
Christina. Okay. Got her. Let's see. 74, 76.
Yeah.
See, Miss Dorsey is here. Keith Tutlow.
Is anyone on?
I can't see anybody. Can you hear me?
I can't see anybody. I can hear you.
I don't know. I could see everything. I think it's on your end.
I see them too. I think it's their layout.
Mine's telling me to stop my video, and I can see me, but I can't see anybody. I don't understand that.
Can you see the screen, Mr. Dink?
Pardon me?
Can you see the screen?
I can see the public hearing announcement. That's all.
Okay.
And now I can see you're speaking as Tom Vanover, but he's not.
No,
So
I'm here.
Tom, you figured the whole thing out, haven't you?
Yeah.
Huh. Why aren't we going? Why am I being told that? Huh.
There was a Stephen that said they couldn't hear anyone. It was somebody might have answered that. Chat.
Does this remind anybody of the cone of silence? Somebody's laughing.
That's me. The presenter annotation request. The presenter declined your request.
It's green. It's
Request
green.
what?
Hello, this is Rose Dorsey. My meeting was at 9:30 a.m. this morning.
We haven't started yet, Ms. Dorsey.
Okay,
When your docket is called, that's when you would speak up. So you have to pay attention to when your docket number is called.
okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna shut down and start over.
Okay,
Wait, Mr. Dake, what do you see? Too late.
He's probably just like me. I'm just, Tom, I'm just seeing where it says public hearing and it has a meeting notice on there. and a screen.
Yeah.
Okay, and then over to the right, participants?
No, but I can bring them, I can,
No, I'm seeing, Pat, I'm seeing what you're
I
seeing.
got it right here.
okay.
Okay, Joe, so now you're logged in twice, and then you're gonna get echo the whole time.
I am plugged in twice.
Yeah, that's why you're echoing.
Okay, how do I move that over, Tom? It's in the
All right,
middle of the screen.
So Pat, you have do you see the list of names on the right-hand side?
I brought them up down below, but they're sort of in the middle, the list of names.
Okay, see, and then your picture's in there showing?
Pictures of everybody, no.
Sure.
No, your picture, your video.
Uh,
They can see me.
I see with the stop video.
No, don't worry about that. So on the
Okay.
bottom right-hand side, do you see where it says participants?
Bottom right.
It was. Mm.
I don't see that.
Okay,
Next-
do you see?
Next to the
a
chat button.
Yeah,
Next to the
next-
button, okay.
Yeah.
Well, the one to the left of the, wait a minute. Okay, right in the chat, all right. I get that.
okay, see, now up top, see where it says layout?
Okay, don't see the layout. Is that to the three dots? Settings?
No, it should be right next to your picture.
Okay, let me take a look again. Okay, so under chat, I'm up there. To the right of my picture, it just shows that I'm on here.
There's not a button at the top that says layout.
Doesn't say it, no. Let me do this one with the three.
Computer or iPad or your phone, because the layout is not going to be the same.
Whoever's playing.
Oh, why you don't have a preamble?
Do you have something you can email him, or does he doesn't happen to have?
Handle the condition of the building than the current owners.
And the sale is to that contiguous neighbor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vanover. You have a
So,
comment?
Mr. Chairman, if I can back up to Mr. Fishman, what were the notices for that you said you received? She had received.
Raina, you're probably in a better position to answer that than I am.
The notices
I
were
believe
for
they
this
were
hearing.
notices regarding this hearing. Am I correct, Raina?
That is correct.
Okay, so those were just announcements to the fact that this hearing was taking place, not regarding the violations themselves. Okay, Mr. Chairman, as we always do, more time to dispose of a property is not an adequate reason for an extension. This is a beautiful building, or was. The architecture of this building is very specific to this portion of Lorraine Avenue. And these issues that we're looking at, there's multiple property, exterior maintenance issues. And this didn't happen over the past year when everybody was so busy with, the pandemic and everything else. This building's been neglected for a long time. And there's been plenty of time to, in my opinion, to facilitate a sale to a beneficial owner years before it got into this condition. It's unfortunate that the neglect of this building has put it in this condition because, who knows? I don't know what the new owner, the contiguous owner's plan is. But as being in a landmark district, I don't know what their expectation is. going forward. So we would ask that no more time be allotted. There was plenty of time to fix it over the past decades, and then plenty of time to sell it. And as we've all seen, the climate has changed, as the economic climate often does. And there's no guarantee that this is actually going to go forward. It's really a plan to do nothing but get rid of the property. All of those things can continue to happen if you remand it, if you give no more time and remand it back to the city. So we will continue, they can continue with their sale of the property, but an extension of time stays enforcement by the city to do our job.
Okay, board members,
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I had my hand up. Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, is the neighbor that you allude to, is that the community school that's adjacent? Are they the folks that you have an agreement with?
That is correct.
So, Mr. Chairman, I concur with Mr. Vanover and the city. I think Urban Community School is the right owner for probably taking over this property, and they have a very good track record of maintaining property and working with the city to improve their property and to put new buildings on Lorraine. And if we remand this back to the city and this transfers within the 30 days that the owner thinks it will, then Urban Community School will work with the building department and go through the necessary process to bring this building back to life. And if it doesn't work out with Urban Community School, then the property will be in the proper hands of the city, and then we can proceed from that point forward. So I think either way, it's the best way to handle this property. I'm very familiar with it. I live in this neighborhood. I've driven by this for multiple decades, and it's a horrible eyesore to a part of the community that's really rebounded on Lorraine between 45th and 65th. And this is one of the worst properties there.
okay. Very good. Thank you. Mr. Gallagher, you have a comment?
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, I agree totally. Wondering, to Carmela, is there any word from the council person on this property?
Yes,
Yes,
I think there is.
Yeah, Councilman Kerry McCormick opposed to any extension of time. They also is in agreement with you all saying that it has been an eyesore for the past decade and nothing has been done.
Okay. I think we've heard enough. A motion, and the property seems like it's heading in the right direction, either way. A motion is ordered to deny the appellant additional time and to remand the property to the Division of Building and Housing for supervision and any required further action. Motion so in order?
So moved.
Second, Mr. Maskey.
Second.
Second, Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink, Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you all. Next docket.
We thank the panel for its time.
Thank you. Next docket, A 6620, 19112 Furwood.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance. Issued October 22nd, 2020.
Good morning, Attorney Christina Lauder here.
1 second, please.
Sorry.
Appeal statement received November 13th, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton, Law. With the appellants for docket A 6620, please state your name for the record.
Attorney Christina Lauder.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yes, I also have my client here listed under Suzanne Davlin.
Will they be giving testimony?
I think her husband, Robert Davlin, who is the owner, may give some testimony. So yes, he should be sworn in as well.
Okay. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I see that they're still muted. Mr. Davlin, are you able to unmute yourself? Okay.
Proceed with the discussion and
Yes. My client indicates to me that he has completed all of the repairs at the property. What we need to have happen at this time is for the inspector to come out and review the property and make sure that he is comfortable with the repairs. So at this time, we would ask for another 30 to 60 days just to complete the inspection, re-inspection, and then to make any additional repairs if the inspector feels that what has been done is not adequate.
okay. Any comments from Mr. Vanover? Do you have a comment on this?
So Mr. Chairman to Ms. Davis, the screen before us says that it's a condemnation of the main structure. Is that accurate?
I've never seen any kind of condemnation. I've just seen a standard violation repair list.
1 second.
The condemnation should be cited on the repair list.
Yeah, it should just be interior and exterior maintenance.
All right. So just let the record show that the screen that we're currently looking at that notes it as a condemnation notice is inaccurate. It's interior, exterior maintenance. And Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, do you have a contact number for the Inspector Arnold, who's the inspector on this? Attorney Christina.
Oh, I'm sorry, you said Mr. Chairman.
To the
yes,
appellant.
Mr. Davlin, do you have a contact number for the inspector? I know it's listed on the initial violation list. As long as it's the same inspector, then we should have the phone number.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, we don't object to 30 days to get the inspection conducted and the violation notice closed out.
Okay. Motion is in order to grant the appellant until March 15th, 2021 to complete abatement of the violation. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Inc.,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next hearing, A 7420, 3443 East 51st Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is condemnation of the main structure. Issued January 7, 2020. Appeal statement received February 3rd, 2020. Requested 9 months to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. The appellant has been properly notified, and I do not presently see them here.
Hello.
Are you the appellant for docket A 7420?
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
But the appellant, proceed with your discussion. The appellant.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
I also want to give a statement from Councilwoman Cleveland. She opposed to this appellant getting any more time. She states that this appellant owns several properties throughout the city of Cleveland that are in the same condition. She feels that this appellant is doing a disservice to the city.
objection noted. We can proceed. Is the appellant present?
Hello?
Yes. Yes. You, Eli?
Eli.
I'm Eli's son, and my father's next to me. Say something. Excuse me.
Hi.
I'm Eli.
He needs to be sworn in.
I think he, yeah, solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. Proceed. Your story.
We just haven't had time. We applied for this application a while ago. We haven't heard any results. We're like to get some building permits so we could continue working on the house.
And okay, so and then what, when you get the permits, how much time are you requesting to complete abatement of the violations?
6 months.
Okay. Mr. Vanover, you have comments?
So, Mr. Chairman, there's no permits applied for currently. This was condemned early in 2020, pre-pandemic. So, you know, if you could look at the condition, this is this house has been neglected for some time. This will require full building, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical permits to bring this property out. It looks like the wiring has all been stripped. The siding has been stripped. I don't understand. You know, if we inspected a year ago, there's a reasonable expectation that it was in this condition prior to. Although we want to see properties rehabbed as opposed to demolished, we wouldn't object to a reasonable amount of time, I suppose, but based on the councilwoman's comments and ours, I don't understand how the property got to this condition to begin with.
It was vandalized in a short period of time, and we did not get to it after we found out what was wrong with it. Then after that, the inspector showed up.
Mr. Chairman, Patricia McGinty, Aston City of Cleveland Law Department. Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, when did you receive these notice of condemnation?
We received it a while ago, but we applied for the appeal, and we never got a response from the appeal. And all of a sudden, we got this 3 letters at one day, at one time.
Okay. That's based upon the post office slowdown. That's out of the control of either the board or its secretary. They had no control over that. But Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, have you done anything at the property since receiving the notice?
Yeah, we started working on the inside and cleaning it up.
And did you pull any permits?
We didn't do anything with permits yet. We're just.
And Mr. Chairman, this to the appellant, is the councilman correct? You own other properties in the city of Cleveland as well?
Yes.
Okay, and so you are a property owner and aware of the process. Mr. Chairman, if you are inclined to grant time, we ask that it be a very, very short time with very strict limitations such as no extensions, no further times. They do know what they're doing. They're property owners in the city of Cleveland, but you do have the right to give them a short period of time. It has been sitting there for the last year. The community has had to see this eyesore, but we would ask that you give a very short, very, very short period of time with no extensions on that, and that the standard language you would normally give. Thank you.
Board members, suggestions on this? Thank you, Ms. Aston. The property, it's condemnation, correct?
Correct.
So it needs plans, I would assume.
No, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is, as a residential structure, they can submit a rehab plan.
Okay.
Under our residential rehab plan. And I'd also like to remind the board that if the board denies time and remands it back to the Department of Building and Housing, it still does not prevent them from pulling permits and repairing the property. And our standard policy is if permits are active and work is progressing, then under the Residential Code of Ohio, we will continue to allow the work to progress to get the property completed. So there's no risk in remanding it back to the Department of Building and Housing as far as I see it.
Okay, so they can expect of like 6 months, if they make good progress, to continue to be able to make that progress. At least,
Providing they pull the proper permits, correct.
right,
Mr. Chairman, to the appellant,
Mr. Maskey.
do you have the finances to begin this work?
Yes.
So I would make a recommendation, Mr. Chairman, that we give them 30 days to submit a rehab plan and then let the rehab plan take over, and failure to meet the 30-day submission, then it gets remanded back to the city of Cleveland.
I have a question. How do I go about getting a rehab plan?
The rehab plan is a dated plan stating that you plan to do certain, you can correct me, Mr. Vanover, but you plan to have certain work done at certain dates, and so that the city can review that and see that you're making progress or not. And you just show up with that. It indicates also your knowledge of what you're getting into for the city to review and judge. So that's your rehab plan. Isn't necessarily a full set of plans. It's a description of work effort.
Mr. Chairman, the requirements for pulling permits and making application, including this rehab plan, are all posted on the City of Cleveland website, City of Cleveland Building Department Forms and Publications page.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Right. You know, this is one of them situations though where they own other properties, and surely I'm surprised they don't know what to do in this situation. So this is a business. This isn't just like a single property owner that's fixing up their own property. And you would think they would want to get this done and get it either rented out or whatever they do with them or sell it. But it's just, I mean, I would be, you know, I'm leaning hard to what Tom's saying, man, and I would agree, you know, I guess with Mr. Maskey also, but it's got to be like real short and tight, whatever we're going to do. And I personally wouldn't have a problem just remanding it because of the situation.
I think, and the property is in serious decay. If we do that, Mr. Vanover has stated, it doesn't jeopardize them from continuing if they make a good effort to renovate the property.
I could support Mr. Gallagher on that.
I can support both of you on this. Okay, we'll make that motion. That's what we're here for. All right. A motion is ordered to deny additional time with the understanding that the property can be submitted for rehab and will be reviewed closely with tight time constraints. Motion so in order.
So move.
To Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Sepik. We're all set.
Thank you.
Next project, docket A 7620, 4426 West 48th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation of exterior maintenance. Issued February 12th, 2020. Appeal statement received March 12th, 2020. Requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton Law. The appellant has been properly notified and has not responded to the notice.
Ms. Aston?
If you could swear in Mr. Vanover first, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, or nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Mr. Chairman, thank you preliminarily to Ms. Davis. Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's public hearing or any of the three, as the previous people have been testified, returned to the board's file for any reason?
No.
Okay, and did, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did you receive any communication from this appellant via email, fax, phone call, voicemail, et cetera?
No.
So, Mr. Chairman, it appears you do have the due process right to proceed, as notice was sent out and has not been returned, and no communication has been received. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and this is an exterior, oh, thank you. Pictures. Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is it appears 48th and Lorraine Day here at BBS. So this is all the same neighborhood for the past couple of cases that we've had. As Mr. Maskey stated earlier, it is an up and coming neighborhood. They put a lot of work into it. This is a very large rental property that has exterior maintenance issues that need to be corrected, should have been corrected and maintained prior to the citizens of the city paying an inspector to go out and identify the problems. This is the violation notice was issued. When was the issue date? So it was started. We started our inspection as earlier last year. We would ask that you
February 12th, 2020, February 12th.
Okay, yeah. So we would ask that you deny any more time and remand it back. And I'll make my standard statement. This is an investment property. These are business opportunities in a neighborhood that stays relatively full. So this work should have been done before we got there because that's the business.
And they went through the summer without doing anything.
That is correct.
Mr. Chairman,
from board members?
Mr. Chairman. Yeah.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yeah, and those steps are definitely not the code. I mean, that looks dangerous.
Well, yeah,
that's
they need
the entrance.
handrails.
Yeah, that I don't even think there may not be the code even as the steps are situated, but it's hard to tell from the picture. But that's your entrance to the home. That begins it all. So absolutely, I agree. Remand it.
Okay. A motion is in order to deny the request for additional time and to remand the property to the Division of Building Housing for supervision and required further action. Motion so in order.
Don't move.
Motion, Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Oh, motion, Mr. Gallagher, second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Maskey?
Yes.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Next docket, A7720, 11534, Mount Overlook Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance. Issued March 3rd, 2020. Appeal statement received March 13th, 2020. Asking until August of 2020 to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton Law. And Rose Dorsey. You do.
Rose Dorsey?
Yes,
State your
can
name.
you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, what I wanted to ask,
We're gonna swear you in, just a minute. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth.
I can hardly hear you.
Nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay.
Mr.
Ms.
Chair,
Dorsey? Something's not working. Ms. Dorsey?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ms. Dorsey, we can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you a little bit better.
Okay, so I think it's your internet connection might be breaking up, but Mr. Chairman, you're gonna need to swear her in again because she didn't hear you.
Solemnly swear, thank you. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Proceed. Tell us your story.
Can I talk now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the violations that we had on the church parish house there have been repaired. The only thing that we could not do was to get the gutters cleaned out and the painting of the house because of the pandemic. And I wanted to know if we can have an extension until September of 2021.
And what reason is it for the extension that you've got a whole summer to paint?
We weren't able to get anyone to paint the house in 2020 because of the pandemic. We couldn't get any company or anything to do it.
Mr. Vanover, you have a comment on that, or Mr. Maskey? There's got.
Mr. Chairman, to the,
Thank you.
the construction industry has been readily available in my experience during the pandemic. And I think giving to September is exceptional length of time. I think this could be resolved sooner than that.
So, Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, you said that everything that is done except for the gutters and for the painting.
Painting of the house.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, we would not object to an extension of time based on a reinspection by Inspector Davis. But I do think that September is extensive. That's a 6 month request for a year-old violation notice. We would be willing to split that and give 3 months to what would that be, May, the 1st of June?
Okay.
To get the gutters cleaned out specifically, because that'll rot your roof, and then to start painting. If the painting is in progress at that time, then under the inspector's discretion, we'll give you more time, but we've got to show that it's going to continue, that it keeps moving.
Okay.
So we don't
the
object
extension,
to a June 1st date.
June 1st? Okay.
A motion, board members, any comments?
I agree.
We'll go with that. A motion is ordered to require the gutter work to be completed by May 1st, 2021, and the painting.
And that's for the gutters, May 2021?
Yes.
And for the painting,
You'll get this
and the painting of the house would be till June, am I correct?
And till June 1st, 2021, to complete abatement of the painting, to complete the painting. Motion
Right.
so in order.
Well, Mr. Chairman, we also want to get a reinspection. Tom was
Okay,
asking for a reinspection. Just add that to the motion. Everything else is good.
So, add a reinspection within the next 4 weeks. Until March, a reinspection by March 1st, 2021. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Moved.
Motion, Mr. Gallagher.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you. Am I signing off now?
Yes, you are.
All right. Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Next docket A, 7820, 2013 Hood Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued February 20th, 2020. Appeal statement received March 18th, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. With the appellant for docket A7820, please state your name for the record.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comment you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do.
And where are we with this? We have no appellant?
Can you hear me?
Carmela?
We have an appellate.
Oh, we
With
do?
the
Okay.
appellant, please state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name is Heath Tutlow, president of Mount Walker and King.
If you could speak up just a little bit, Heath.
Did you get sworn in, Heath? Mr.
Yes,
Tutlow?
I just answered.
Okay.
Yes. Can you
Okay,
hear better
proceed
now?
with your story.
Okay. I'll begin with a motion to dismiss. We don't own this property. We haven't owned it since last April.
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Tricia McGinty Aston for the City of Cleveland Law Department, we would ask that you deny the motion to dismiss based upon the fact that they're the ones who filed the appeal. If they did so, in fact, sell the property, they can most certainly withdraw the appeal. Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, when did you sell the property?
Deed transferred in April of 2020.
And Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, since it's owned by an entity and there was a corporate resolution to file this appeal, was there a corporate resolution to sell the property?
Of course.
Well, then you have the right to withdraw the appeal. It is your appeal, but we are going to ask that the board deny the motion to dismiss and uphold the notice as properly issued based upon Mr. Vanover's next testimony, because the conditions did exist at the time and the entity was the owner at the time, so it was properly issued.
I haven't heard Mr. Vanover's sworn testimony.
He's about to speak. I said in his about to speak. Also, Mr. Chairman, in their appeal, they did not object to the violation notice, but just so you're aware that based on Mr. Vanover's testimony next and the photographs, the conditions did exist, or we're going to argue the conditions did exist, and it would be improper to dismiss it based upon any objection to it.
We have the property, the appeal on our notice listed as Mathers, Walker, and Burke, Inc. Is that the new owner?
No.
Oh. All right. Yeah, are you going to withdraw what are you going to do in view of what we're telling you?
Mr. Chairman, you have to rule on his motion to dismiss.
Or did he wants to dismiss?
You might want to hear from Mr. Vanover first.
No, I want to hear from the motion. Also, I haven't heard any opposition party.
You just heard from their lawyer. You didn't object in your appeal statement, so I would argue you waived any objection to the violations because you didn't make them at the time. But Mr. Chairman, if you can hear from Mr. Vanover, who you sworn in, the photographs are there, and if you could hear from Mr. Vanover in relation to the violations, upon conclusion, the city is going to say the violations existed at the time, and the violation was properly issued and served. Thank you.
Okay. I think everybody's sworn in, are they not?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, Tom Vanover, Chief Building Official. So as Ms. Aston has stated, the notice of violation was issued properly to the owners of the property at the time of inspection. They were given a compliance time of 30 days that they failed to comply with the notice of violation. They then subsequently flipped the property to another owner. So at this point, the the order from the Director of Building and Housing to correct violations was properly issued and is properly issued, and the appellant, which is Mathers, Walker, and Burke Incorporated, has been ordered by the City of Cleveland to make corrections to this property. They still have the responsibility to make corrections to this property under the order that was issued. However, they no longer have the ability because they flipped the property. So at this point, we would ask that you deny any more time. You obviously deny the motion to dismiss because you can't just flip properties to get out from under the violations that you've been ordered to correct, and that you remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing for further action.
I still have some comments. So we have challenged the notice of violation. We sent that to the appellant or the building department, Department of Building and Housing. Also, I want to object to these photographs. Who took these photographs?
The photographs were taken by the inspector.
Okay. Is that Jeff Barkus?
Jeff Barkus, correct.
And Jeff Barkus is not here today.
I am speaking on Jeff Barkus's behalf.
Okay, that's hearsay. I'm going to object.
And it's an administrative process. They're allowed to have hearsay. Mr. Chairman, just so you're aware, as the city has argued before, the evidence and the rules of evidence and the rules of civil procedure do not apply under Rule 1 of both in a special statutory proceeding, which this is. These are special statutory administrative procedures. They are allowed to present this way. Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, did you subpoena anybody for today's hearing?
Mrs. Patlow, did you subpoena anyone? Can you hear her?
No.
No, you can't hear me, or no, you didn't subpoena anyone?
We didn't subpoena anyone.
Okay.
My argument is whoever took these photos, Jeff Barkus, is not here to authenticate the photos, so we don't know.
Have to be. Objection to that, Mr. Chairman. Doesn't have to be.
Specious.
Okay. Now I want to address the notice. So we'll start with the raising the garage without a permit. We did not own this property for very long. So we got it in on March 19th of 2019. And at the time, there was no garage. It's a typical Cleveland house. There's a paved driveway to behind the house. And at the time we bought the property, behind the house, at the end of the driveway, there was an enormous pile of rubbish. It was awful. It was consisted of a substantial amount of clothes, more than a room full of clothes, many items of furniture, multiple couches, chairs, and then also some construction debris mixed in, all in this giant pile of rubbish at the end of the driveway. And the first thing that we did was to have this pile of rubbish removed in accordance with the building code. So we did not raise the garage. Now I want to address the next one we have here is a porch railing. Missing porch railing on the second level. Okay, so there are doors on the second level, but that is not a porch. That is not on top of that roof. There is shingles. And when you look at it from the inside of the house, that is not a functioning door. It has been sealed off. So that is not an operating porch. And next we have the porch system is in need of paint. I'm guessing that Jeff Barkus just doesn't like the color of the porch, perhaps. This is weatherproof.
And impugning my inspector. That's unnecessary, sir.
Well, I don't see what else would he be arguing here. That is weather treated wood. So it is structurally sound, weather tight, is in good repair. And lastly,
Comments, are you objecting to the citation?
Yes.
Where are you?
He is, Mr. Chairman. If you could allow him to finish to get through, he has the right to make his statement, even though the city was not served with his objection. He does have the right to proceed, and then I will respond and Mr. Vanover respond, but he does have the due process right.
Okay.
Okay, and we did send this with the appeal. It's written and attached when we sent our appeal paperwork. And then the last was, it says here, exterior wall siding is loose and or deteriorated. That is not correct either. There are 2 layers of siding, both in good repair, weather tight. There's no leakage. It's structurally sound, it's weather tight, and it is all in good repair when we own the property, which we do not anymore.
Is there anything else you have to say, Mr. Tutlow, regarding that? The VN?
Not at this point.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if I may, if you could, the photograph can go back to the garage so Mr. Vanover can testify. So Mr. Vanover, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Vanover, on behalf of the city, do you see the photograph on the left?
Yes.
And can you read the date and the address and on the photograph into the record? Can you read that?
I can read that it's 2013 Hood, old garage, raised. I'm having trouble reading the date from this photograph.
Yeah, I am too. I wasn't sure if you had that. Okay. Mr. Go back. No, don't change that yet, please. And Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Vanover, is there a portion or any portion of the garage structure in that photograph on the left? Can you describe what's there?
There is. What's left is the front wall and appears the side walls of the old flat roofed garage.
So there is some semblance of a garage still standing at the time of this photograph?
There is a structure on the property, although in great disrepair. It is still a structure under the Residential Code of Ohio that requires a permit to remove.
And Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Vanover, if you could testify to the remaining number 2, 3, and 4. Number 2 on the violation notice is the front. If we could have the picture of the front of the house with the door that he is objecting to. The porch system in need of paint, the porch railing is broken, and the exterior wall siding loose, etc. Can you testify in response to what the appellant has testified to, especially to that egress door, which and the requirements for closing it off?
So, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Aston, in order to remove the door from the second floor and to close it off would require a permit under the Residential Code of Ohio. Our records do not indicate that there is a permit. Simply closing the door or locking the door or even screwing the door shut does not satisfy the permitting requirements and the plan approval requirements for removing what is currently an exit door.
And with that not being meeting the requirements, is a porch railing required?
It is.
And is one present in that photograph?
It is not.
And do you see in any of the photographs present where the porch system is in need of paint or the exterior wall siding is loose and deteriorated on any of these photographs?
I do. The porch railing has been painted, and therefore the code requires that if it's a painted surface, that the paint must not be in disrepair, flaking, or chipping. These photographs show that the porch rail had been painted, and is now the paint is failing and the wood is rotting.
So, Mr. Chairman, based upon the photographic evidence, especially of the garage and the requirement of the permit, the city submits that the objections have no merit. We would ask that you overrule the objections, deny the motion to dismiss. Again, they have the right to withdraw their appeal. Mr. Vanover, I don't know if you have access to either the Citizens Access or the Acela on your where you're at right now, but I will submit that the records will show a certificate of disclosure in March. So, Mr. Chairman, he can withdraw this appeal if they sold the property. But if he's going to argue, he can't have his cake and eat it too. So if he wants to proceed on his appeal, or on behalf of the entity owner, then the city is going to defend it as properly issued and ask that you uphold, deny, and remand. Or he can withdraw his appeal. He cannot have both ways. Thank you.
May I respond to your questioning of Tom Vanover?
That's up to Mr. Chairman. He has the right, Mr. Chairman, to ask Mr. Vanover questions.
Proceed, Mr.
Okay. Mr. Vanover, you're commenting on the second floor door. What grounds do you have to comment on that second floor door and how it is and how it was maintained and how it was?
On the grounds that the removal of that door or the functionality of that door requires a plan approval and a permit from the Department of Building and Housing, and our records do not indicate that permit was ever pulled.
Okay. I can tell you that when we bought the property, when we acquired it in 2019, the door was already sealed over. We did not do any work to this.
You aware that there was an illegal condition on the property when you bought it?
What illegal condition are you implying?
The fact that the railing had been removed and the door had never been permitted to be closed off.
Are you asking whether we knew it was that way?
Well, so you bought the property. Your testimony is that you bought the property with the illegal condition and you were aware of that?
I don't see how we didn't make the changes to the property. I don't see how that's right.
That wasn't his question, Mr. Chairman, to the appellant. His question was, were you aware when you purchased the property of the illegal condition at the property? That was his question.
No, we were not. It was a sheriff's sale.
That's all he was asking.
So, Mr. Chairman, our position would be that when the property is purchased, that the owner at the time has the responsibility to correct violations. I mean, the logic that it was like that when they got it isn't sound logic, because I'm assuming one could assume based on the time it takes that the rotted porch spindles and other conditions on the property also existed.
What are you basing this rotted porch spindles on? On that photograph? Are you telling me that you can tell from that photograph that there are rotting porch spindles? Can we go back to that? Where do you see rotting spindles here?
The porch rails on the right with the spindles where the
is in place, sound, painted.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to object. He may not like the testimony, but the testimony is what it is. He testified that it is not. Mr. Vanover testified that it is. So there's a dispute in the testimony. Going back and forth with him isn't going to change Mr. Vanover's testimony.
Okay.
Mr. Vanover, have you been to this property?
Are you basing it? Assume that you're going to continue fixing the property? Hasn't it already been stated that you can't?
We cannot. We do not own this property. We haven't for nearly a year.
So where are we going?
Right.
What's the point of this?
I have no idea.
It's your appeal.
Okay.
It's your appeal. The point is you've asked to dismiss it. I'm defending it, and you refuse to withdraw it. So the point is you want it both ways, and the city's adamant that it was properly issued.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a motion? Can I make a motion that I find that this was properly issued, and we can move on?
And deny the time for additional.
Yes, exactly.
I want to comment. I need to make a comment about that he spoke about the garage being raised. That photograph, you can't tell. There's nothing of a garage there. I mean, there may be a couple.
There's a roof.
What roof? You can see.
Go back to the photograph. You can
go back to that.
Blind. I wear glasses, but I'm not blind.
Can you see through there with a tarp?
Oh my lord! Oh my lord! I gotta mute.
You see a little bit of shingles hanging there. I mean, you see what one or
okay, Mr. Chairman, can you rule whether or not there's a garage for this appellant?
Here's that there was.
Yes, there is a garage.
You call that a garage. There's no roof, there's no walls.
Can't call it much of a garage.
Mr. Chairman, the Residential Code of Ohio, under the Administrative Code, considers this a structure that is covered by the Residential Code,
Okay,
and
it may be
therefore
a
requires a permit to remove. It's
may
not
be
what
a
this board
structure.
does. It's not what I do. The Residential Code and the Ohio Administrative Code determines that this is a structure that requires a plan approval and a permit to remove.
That is a piece of building that is just sticking up there. That is a hazard.
Okay.
It was, we were required by the building code to remove that.
And you're required
because it is trash on the property.
permit to do it.
Rubbish on the property.
And Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, did you acquire a permit to do so as Ohio law requires?
To remove rubbish from the property?
That is, you may call it rubbish. Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, did you acquire a permit to remove what the photograph currently showing on the screen shows is something there? You call it whatever you want, but Ohio and the city of Cleveland law requires a permit to remove that. And did you so get
That's
that
fine.
permit?
And I would imagine that the gentleman that we
Can
hired.
you instruct him to answer or just rule and move on? This is being obstructionist.
I would like to rule, Mr. Chairman. We have sat for this long enough.
We did not do the work of removing that little piece of thing that's sticking up along with the pile of trash. We hired that out. And I would imagine that the person who removed that cleaned it up and made it in compliance with the building code as it was while we owned it. I would imagine that they got all the permits necessary.
You can imagine all you want. Ohio and city law requires that the property owner be responsible. City moves that you deny the motion to dismiss, uphold the notice is properly issued, deny the further appeal, and remand the building and housing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I am going too soon. A motion is in order to find that the violation notice was properly issued based on testimony and photographic evidence, and the property is and we are denying any additional time on abatement of the violations. The property's met at this time is reducing building housing for supervision and required further action. Motion so in order.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gallo, Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bartley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
I have a makeup call for you, Mr. Buckley. Yep. Okay, next docket, A 7920, 10724 Gooding Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance. Issued February 10th, 2020. Appeal statement received March 11th, 2020, requesting for 1 year to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant for docket A 7920, please state your name for the record.
The appellant, the Gooding Avenue appellant. Can you hear us?
If you could swear in Mr. Vanover, it doesn't appear they're listed on here.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make of the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
Okay.
Crystal Bivens and Larry Reed, you're not present, correct? I don't see their names listed unless they're calling too. Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's public WebEx hearing returned to the board's file for any reason whatsoever?
No, it was not. This present was properly notified. They did respond to the hearing and they did receive the link. As to why they're not present this morning, I have no idea.
Okay, so they did respond, so that was my next question. Can you explain to the board what that response was? Did they tell you they'd be present?
They requested the hearing link, and those links were sent out Monday evening.
Okay, so they did request the link. Mr. Chairman, if we could, I don't know if you want to hear from Mr. Vanover and hold to, make your ruling and hold adopting it until we give him one more chance, or if you want to just continue it and give them one more chance, since they did actually reach out and contact. That's not usually what happens. So whichever way you choose to do it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Are we proposing to continue it, to contact them and continue it for 2 weeks?
That might be the easiest, but that would be, I would suggest Carmella weigh in on that matter. Thank you.
Okay, we'll proceed to docket A 8120 1145 East 99th Street.
Okay, so wait, we're moving on to docket A81. Okay. Application fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance. Issue February 12th, 2020. Appeal statement received March 11th, 2020, requesting for 90 days for the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Venable, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. The appellant for docket A 8120, please state your name for the record.
Amanda Brown, I'm here.
We've got you. Thank you.
Okay.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yes,
I
it
do.
is.
Okay. Ms. Brown, tell us your story, please.
Okay, so I had tenants. I had 2 tenants living at my property, and they were not pleased with my. They were not pleased with my rule rent and trying to get into the property to maintain it. So they called the inspector on me. Both units called the inspector on me as a way to sabotage my business and for them not to have to pay rent. And so the inspector came last year. I had 2 inspectors. They came. I took the list. I worked on the list. I got everything done. The only thing that I did not get done was the back porch. But within the last week, I bought the materials for the back porch. My maintenance guy is on the premises now. And we were just waiting for the weather to get the back porch done. And it's only cosmetics done. But what we're going to do is we're going to change the board in the structure of the porch just to get it more sturdy and add some new wood around. And that's it right now. But all the interior I did, and both those tenants are out my units. Go ahead.
Okay, now how much time do you think have you reviewed this with the city so that you know that you're going to be in compliance the next time?
Yes, the inspector, she just came not too long ago. She went through everything, and this is the only thing that needs to get done.
Okay.
So I just need maybe like 3 to 6 more months just to get everything, just to have enough time to get everything done if you guys allow it.
Mr. Vanover, do you have comments, please?
Mr. Chairman, so the inspector does corroborate those events and that she was there and on January 20th. We do not object to more time. But to the appellant, are these both units full now?
Yes.
We would ask for a limited amount of time to repair the porch because this is a hazard.
Okay. Yeah, I have the material.
So we would so we're looking maybe April 1st.
April 1st.
For the porch.
Okay. For the porch.
To complete, which at that point would complete the abatement of the violations.
Okay.
Okay.
A motion, any comments from board members? Okay.
Agreed.
Thank you. Motion is ordered to grant the appellant until April 1st, 2021 to complete abatement of the violations. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Gallagher, second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yeah.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Next docket. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Docket A 8220 14915 Lucknow Avenue.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes, but wait just a minute.
I'm sorry.
Carmela, Madam Secretary.
All right, maybe I should just mute the.
So what's happening is it's almost like you got two connections. Are you on the phone and on the computer?
Let me mute the computer.
Okay.
Okay, reintroduce. Docket A 8220, 14915 Lucknow Avenue. Ms. Davis?
You muted the wrong thing.
Can we be heard? Who's?
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. If I could suggest you have the appellant state his name and swear them, him and Mr. Vanover, and you can proceed. I think
Okay.
she called everything.
All right. Mr. Paternity, are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Stephen, you're going to have to turn the volume on your computer down as well.
Present for the hearing, Mr. Vanover and Mr. Paternity. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, may we hear from the appellant? Mr. Paternity, can you hear us? Nope.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Steve, okay.
Swear him in.
Did
Swear him in,
hear
Mr.
any-
Chairman.
Did you hear your being, can you hear me?
Judy, I can't hear a thing.
What's that? Mr. Paternity, can you hear me?
I can hear you on my phone, but when I mute you, I can't hear you on the computer. I'm sorry. Let me get away from it.
You can't. Your phone
So,
isn't working.
Mr. Patanetti, you're going to have to do one or the other. You can't have an open line on the computer and an open line on your phone. So if you can hear on your phone, then turn the volume on your computer all the way down and mute your microphone on the computer. That way you can see it on the computer and then you can just hear everything on the phone. And you should be able to talk into the phone too, and we hear you as well.
He can use the phone, right? Yes, I agree with it. Mr. Paternity, can you do that?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
And you can hear us?
Yes, I can. I apologize.
That's okay. Here we go. We're good.
Solemnly, here we go. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. Tell us what your plans are for your residents.
Okay. I've had some work completed over here. I have a management company that has replaced the original one that I had paid $8,000 to do a lot of work on prior, and I'm sorry, I'm not real good with this. I need a little more time to get that done, but basically there's some of the stuff for the outside things, like screen doors and some painting of trim and storm window repairs. And given the time of year that we're in, it's been very hard trying to find anybody to do the work for the outside stuff. There has been a lot of the inside work completed, but on reinspection, there's some additional things that need to be done after the work had been taken care of. So I'm basically looking for maybe the end of May to get the outdoor stuff taken care of, and the rest of the inside stuff I'll get the contractor to work on from this time forward.
Okay, so you'll have everything done by June 1st.
yes, that
Okay.
would be my goal here.
Okay, Mr.
Um,
Hanover?
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Paternetti, so you do not live in this property?
No, that was my first house that I bought.
Okay,
And-
so
and
I will repeat my statement that you've heard me repeat earlier. This is an investment property, and you have a responsibility to maintain it before we get there. The citizens of the city should not have to pay inspectors to tell you to do the job that you should be doing already. So that is our position, that you should be, these things should have never gotten this bad. First house, last house, it's an investment property. The inspector's notes say that you raised the garage.
Yes.
Did you take, and that, as you just heard from a previous docket, that requires a permit, and you have to have a demolition contractor or a contractor pull the permit to demolish the structure and have it inspected accordingly. Now, the inspector does report that you have corrected the smoke detectors and flue issues inside, which is important. But she also indicates that she wasn't able to do an inspection of the second floor. I think June 1st is an extended period of time for work that should have never gotten to this point. And I don't know how many other houses or buildings you own, but the expectation is, as an investor in rental property, that you maintain them prior to the city having to come out and tell you to do your job. So just to please keep that in mind. I'll defer to the board. Again, I think June 1st is an extended period of time, but I'll defer to the board on more time, with the understanding that within 2 weeks, you'll have a permit to raise the garage.
Okay. Can I make one comment in that I had hired in September of 2018, I had hired a company and actually paid them over $8,000 to make improvements to the place. And basically that let's see, you're looking at, that's from Metro Management. That's the second company that replaced them, the original ones. The original company was FOD Real Estate, and they did not do any of the work that they were supposed to do. They were supposed to make corrections to the garage. They were supposed to have replaced all the storm doors, and just none of that work was completed. And responses have been nil from them, and so I have a separate thing that I'm trying to do, and I'm going to take them to court soon after this, because they still, the things that have been reported as violations, I had paid to have corrected. Before the inspection.
Thank you for that. I mean, so that is encouraging that you're actually taking proactive steps to maintain your properties, and just unfortunately pick the wrong folks to do it. So that is what's expected. So thank you for that.
I'm trying.
Okay.
And we appreciate that, and the citizens and the neighbors also appreciate that. So that being said, Mr. Chairman, I don't object to more time, with the understanding of 2 weeks to pull the demolition permit, and then defer to the board to June 1st for the abatement of the rest of the violations.
Okay. A motion is ordered to require the appellant a motion is ordered to require the appellant to obtain a permit to demo the garage by March 1st, 2021, and to complete all violations by June 1st, 2021. Motion so in order.
So moved. So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bradley. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you all. Next docket, A 8320.
Thank you very much.
24060 East 142nd Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance issued on March 4th, 2020. Appeal statement received March 16th, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. For the appellant, for docket A 8320, please state your name for the record.
My name is Cheryl Matthews.
Okay. Solemnly swear or affirm the comment, we're swearing you in now. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, Ms. Matthews, tell us the story. You have interior and exterior violations.
Well,
Maintenance.
I bought this property sight unseen. I've never seen it. And I had a property manager managing it, and they quit on me. Around that same time that they quit, I contracted a very rare cancer. And I've been pretty much fighting that cancer ever since. I don't have another management company, although I do believe someone's in there renting it, and I haven't gotten any rent in over a year. So I don't know what to do at this point.
You have people in the property, residing in the property. And
I believe so, but I don't know because I've never been to the property, and I don't have a management company, and I'm not collecting any rent.
Okay, what is your home base? Where is your residence?
In Tyler, Texas.
Oh, boy. So you don't have any plans for it, nor are you in the position to make any plans for it. Is that correct?
That's correct for right now.
Okay. Mr. Vanover?
Well, Mr. Chairman, as much as, we try to be empathetic, I mean, this is a plan to do nothing for a property she's never seen. And so I've got nothing to work with. I'd ask that there's an expectation when you buy investment property that's going to be maintained. And the City of Cleveland codified ordinances requires by law that there is a custodian within Cuyahoga County to maintain the property, which that is based on testimony is not in place. We would ask that you deny it and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing.
Well,
deny what?
Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, I'm not even sure what the request is. If the request is for more time.
Yeah, exactly.
I do need more time. I need to get well where I can take care of this.
You have a date for getting well? Probably not.
I don't know. I'm gonna say 6 months, maybe.
Mr. Gallagher, were you going to have a comment?
Yes. I mean, a phone call away for somebody to manage it is what I would say. And so she's not able right now. That's what she needs to do. She needs to pass it on. And so I would agree with Tom. I think we need to remand it, and then she can still continue to, to take care of it, make a phone call, get somebody, a management team or somebody in there to take care of the situation. That doesn't mean this is the end. It just means that, we don't have a plan here by the appellant other than she wants to get well, and I wish her well, that's for sure. But
absolutely.
Yeah, but I think she just needs to get somebody in charge here.
I agree with you, but I have no idea who to get.
Well, you're going to have to talk to somebody and get some help in that area. But right now, the position we're in is that we're going to remand it, and it doesn't mean that that's the end of it. It just means that because we'd like to see it taken care of. I mean, that's the neighbors around it want to see it taken care of too. So, that'll give you something to work with from there.
So I need to just get a management company and get them involved in it? Is that what you said?
You have to get somebody like that involved in it.
Okay,
That's what they do. That's what they do.
okay.
A motion is ordered to deny the request for time to abate the violations or remand the property to the Division of Building and Housing for supervision and any required further action. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Right.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Maskey, second by Mr. Gallagher.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Mr. Vanover, did you have a comment?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck, Cheryl.
I don't know what happened here. What's going on?
You've got to find a.
Oh, okay. Y'all gonna give me time to find a management company?
No.
No, you just do it.
Yeah, okay.
There's no time. You could find them in an hour. or
Okay,
2 days. All right.
thank you.
You're in charge.
Thank you.
Okay. Next topic. What the heck? Can I be heard?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Next topic.
Yes.
88420. 9107 Lacey Avenue.
Yes. Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is unauthorized illegal use. Issued on March 10th, 2020. Appeal statement received March 31st, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. With the appellant for docket A 8420, please state your name for the record.
LaShawn Tendo.
Okay. That's right.
Okay.
All right, we're going to swear you in now. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. I do.
Okay. This is for illegal use. What are your plans? Do you understand the violation notice?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What are you planning to do?
Basically, the housing court inspector called me and told me that he needed to go to my house because my tenant retaliated and said that I had holes all in my house. They were renting out the third property on the third floor. I'm just inherited this house from my deceased husband, not aware these people were homeless. They begged to live there. So I rent out the third floor to them, not knowing, there was a violation. But they were constantly fighting and breaking up and tearing up stuff. So I asked them to leave. So they called the inspector to make these allegations that I had holes all in my walls. When he came, there was no holes in the wall, but he found out they were illegally up there. So I have filed appeal to get an opportunity to go to the eviction court to try to get them out of my home because they were refusing to leave. Eventually, they moved out sometime in March, some weeks after that. So I rectified the situation. They were out of there. It's empty. It's a door up there. It's locked. No one is living up there. I took pictures and sent pictures to the inspector, and the situation is over.
Mr. Vanover?
So, Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, so it's an illegal third floor rental. And in order to, I don't know when it became that, but in order to rectify it, it's more than just closing the doors. You will need obviously a reinspection, but you'll need to remove any conditions that provide that. If you know, a kitchenette, if there's a kitchenette up there, or
There's nothing up there. It was just a one big bedroom is all it is. There's nothing.
and they just rented one big bedroom. What did they use for a bathroom?
Downstairs, their mother, the boy's mother, lived downstairs on the first floor, so they used her facilities, her bathroom, her the kitchen, and all that. His mother is the one that begged me to allow him and his girlfriend to live up there. And then they were fighting, and constantly I was getting complaints from my second floor tenant, and because they was constantly fighting and stuff. So I asked them to remove. So they retaliated and called and said that I had holes and stuff in my walls. But that was not the case. When the inspector came, he didn't see that. He said, "Oh, they up here illegally. You know, if you're
well, yeah, and I understand how the inspector got there. So now you're at the. So is the entire property empty?
It's empty. Except the second. It's empty. The first people that go on the first floor, his mother left, gone, and they've been gone. They left like 2 or 3 weeks later after. I took pictures because there's no one up there.
All right. So, Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, at this point, we don't object to 2 weeks of extension to get a final inspection. You have to have the inspector back out there, and he has to close the violation notice. Pictures alone won't do it.
Okay, well, I wish he would have told me that, because he called me and I told him, you know, what I did. I took pictures. He asked for the picture and I sent them to him. I didn't know I had to say, okay, when we going to set up another date? So I had to call him and say, can we set up another date for you to come out to my house?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know. I'm new to this. You know, I'm learning the ropes here. I'm just trying to help people out. That's all.
Okay, anything, March 1st? A motion is in order to grant the appellant until March 1st, 2021 to complete abatement of the violations. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gallagher.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bradley. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Next docket. A8520, 4284 West 143rd Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance. Issued March 4th, 2020. Appeal statement received April 2nd, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. With the appellant for docket A 8520, please state your name for the record.
West 143rd Street, are you there? Okay, were they there?
She's there. She needs to unmute herself. Christina, you need to unmute yourself.
Christina.
Hello?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. Christine Jones.
Okay, I'm going to swear you in. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. Christina, you have violations, exterior maintenance. What are your plans?
I've already completed the maintenance on the roof. I submitted a picture there. I know that the inspector was out. I completed the porch, the painting. I actually started doing more painting on the garage. I had the hood fixed on the garage. There's some woodwork that needs done on the trim. And that's it. The only thing I really need to get rid of is the stuff in the yard. I just spent over $10,000 on property work, getting all my the stuff done. I just need to get rid of that van and that trailer and clean up around the garage. And like I said, some painting.
Okay,
I talked to Charles Davis this morning, and he said, Go ahead.
Christine, do you live here?
Yes, I do. The family home.
How much time do you need to get this work done?
Well, as maybe 3 months at tops, 3-4 months by July, June.
Mr. Chairman, as an owner occupied structure, she's making great progress and invested in the home. We don't object to June 1st to complete the abatement of violations.
Okay. A motion is ordered to grant the appellant, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. A motion is ordered to grant the appellant until June 1st, excuse me, 2021 to complete abatement of violations. Motion so in order.
So move.
Motion, Mr. Bradley, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes,
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
and that's it. Next item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
What about the other one?
What about the
Burwood.
docket that we had?
7920.
A7920. Do we
Right.
want to? Let's.
Well, Mr. Dink,
Yes,
if they didn't come on, they still have 2 weeks, to come back and like everybody else does. So if we rule on this, and they're looking for a year, and it's not like they're prohibited from doing anything, they can take care of it if they want to. But they got 2 weeks to come back and give it another crack at it. And all we would be doing is remanding it right now. And
You'd have to hear from Mr. Vanover first, swear Mr. Vanover in and hear from him and his
Oh, okay.
testimony. Their
Well,
appeal
we-
statement does say that they are asking for 12 months and that they're seniors doing it on their own. But if you could hear from, swear in Tom, call the docket, swear in Tom.
this is off the record or not. Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah,
gonna
no,
do
I
it
got
right.
you.
Okay. Reopening docket A7920, in fact, opening it. 10724 Gooding Avenue. Swearing people in, solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole- nothing but the truth, so help you God. And it's been suggested that
Tom,
we
did
make
you
a
say
rule
yes?
and let-
Yes, I do.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, preliminarily, just to circle that through, we previously discussed, since you reopened the docket, Ms. Davis previously testified to this board that the notice was not returned, but this appellant did respond to her, and the hearing links were sent out Monday. So if you're going to hear from Mr. Vanover, we should have the board reach back out to them and let them know they could be heard at the end in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Yes, noted. It's been suggested that we make a ruling at this time. I would suggest we make the ruling for 6 months and let them respond.
After hearing from Mr. Vanover's testimony, you've not taken any testimony yet.
And Mr. Chairman, I object to 6 months. This is a 2-family rental property that has substantial damage that has been caused to the porches. And it looks like there's some repairs started, but not nearly enough. It's actually leaking through the front porch roof onto the second floor porch. I apologize. I received my updates late. But I don't object to more time, but I think 6 months is unnecessary.
I apologize for not asking. It does, when we have porch problems, they should be fixed sooner than that. May 1st? Is May 1st not? That's.
We don't object to an extension to June 1st, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay. Any comments from board members? A motion is ordered to grant the appellant until June 1st, 2021 to complete abatement of the violations. Motion so in order.
So move.
Motion, Mr. Bradley. Second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Okay, next item. Any more action on the docket? No, that's the only one we had Okay, approval of resolutions for the following A20 resolutions: 30, 52, 67, 68, 69, 70, 72, 73, and 75. Any additions or corrections?
No.
Motion for approval as submitted.
So move.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Gallagher, by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Approval of the minutes of January 20th, 2021. Any additions or corrections?
No.
Motion for approval as submitted.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Gallagher, second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Any further official business? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. I have one comment. I keep getting an echo in my, in comments back to me. Is that something that can be corrected?
So are you just on your phone or I mean, are you just
No,
on your computer?
I'm on an iPad.
Okay, so it's just the iPad. So, the echoes are usually caught. I would like to point out that we had 0 technical problems for Mr. Bradley today, and I think that is a huge victory.
Yay!
But the reality is that if people are logged in on 2 devices, then you'll get the echo. Also, because like I'm hearing myself coming through on one of your computers as well. So
I'm
what
hearing
you're
your
hearing
echo.
is our audio.
I'm hearing your echo too right there, Tom. It's not all the time. And now I hear my echo.
Right. So it depends on some devices, the way that the microphone and the speakers are set up, that the microphone will actually pick up the speakers. So it's like you talk and it comes through the speaker and then the microphone picks it up and sends it again.
My money is it's Howard doing that.
I'm not going to respond to the chat that the Maurice player is playing because I'm objecting to the chat, but I hear what you're saying on the speakers because we're objecting to all use of the chat. So I'm not even going to respond to the use of the speaker on that.
Now, Patty, I'm hearing it on yours.
I hear it sometimes too, but not all the time.
Are we
All
getting
right,
anywhere?
so Howard, mute your microphone real quick.
What?
Howard, press the mute button on your microphone.
Okay.
Okay, now.
So now, yeah, see, I still hear it a little bit. No, I guess not. No. So that's what it is Howard, you can unmute yourself. Do you have your phone on as well? No, just yeah. So some devices, they'll do that. It'll come through the speaker and hit the microphone again and then come back through.
Okay.
I have a section meeting this afternoon. I'll see if it happens again with them because we have a WebEx section meeting, but I don't.
Guys, I gotta leave. I've got another meeting I'm late for.
Okay.
Good to see you. Take care.
Oh,
yeah. One thing I would like to say that we should be announcing, and maybe Maurice could do it, but when he comes back. But I really believe that we got to tell people and remind them to mute when they're